I'm Sarah. I'm from the upcoming. A real pleasure to be with you here at the Berlinale for 2025. Maybe we can kick off with an intro to your film, Night Stage. For people who haven't seen it yet, what can they expect going in?
Yeah, Night Stage is an erotic thriller. It's our third collaboration together, Filipe and I, our third feature film. And it's about an actor and a politician that start a secret affair. And together they find out they have a fetish for having sex in public places. And the more they get towards fame, the more they feel the urge to put themselves at risk.
And what was the initial spark of the idea for you guys? Was it these two characters? Was it the setting? Where did you begin?
I think it's a combination of both, actually. First, we really enjoyed this idea of having this main character that lives this double life, these double personas. He has to be one person on stage and someone else outside of it, and the politician's the same. So we thought this could be very interesting. There's this willing, this desire that's pushing them toward to a specific direction in their lives, but also there's like this society, the pressure, the idea of success that drives them to the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. And I think this was something very interesting for us to create and to build this story. But also we really wanted to create a film and to build a film in this atmosphere of noir and erotic thriller. Like, this is something that we are really passionate about it, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So after our second feature film, Hard Paint, like the second half part of the film, it starts to play a little bit with this thriller and more violent, intense atmosphere, and then we realized, okay, let's play with that a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe you can talk a bit about, it is such a genre mashup. Like, at one point you feel like you're in more kind of a drama, and then it goes quite thriller, and then it almost goes quite full-blown into a really sort of dark place. Were you sort of taking cues from other filmmakers? I think you mentioned Alfred Hitchcock, for example, in the past, or are there specific films that you have in mind for kind of the genre tropes, but also the aesthetic of the film?
As I was saying, during the process, we watched a lot of films, and this is a genre that we really love, and then we wanted to play with this atmosphere, these specific characters that they are part of these universes. And so, for example, we always thought of Matthias and Rafael, both the main characters, as femme fatales to each other. So they are like these characters that really change the lives, and they bring like this desire and passion to the other, but also brings danger and like this unpredictability to it. It was something very appealing to us. And then we had this amazing time to research and to try to create a connection with this filmography that already exists, but also bring in our own take on that. Thinking about how can we tell a story in these worlds with a queer perspective, with a Latin American perspective, with a Brazilian perspective, with something that also connects with what's happening in Brazil, like in politically and society in general.
And the way it's shot, I think, is very striking. It's something quite theatrical about it. The way you've used lighting, the flashes of color, the red shirt, the red top. So what did you want to do with the way it looks, in terms of how you're telling your story?
One of the things that really move us, that pun intended here, it's bodies and movement, actually. This is something that we are really passionate about it. So we realized that little by little with our films, with our short films, and then with our previous feature films, that this is something that we have a lot of satisfaction shooting and filming and creating these films with these ideas. Building this mise-en-scène that's also connected with this idea of performance, dancing. We love to shoot like bodies in movement, like they can be like having sex or dancing or fighting or like going after something. This is something very appealing to us. And I don't know if you want to add something regarding that.
Yeah, and as we were talking about these characters that are performers, they are actors in their public lives, and we wanted to have even when they are like off stage, outside their professions, to have this more staged sort of scenario, lightning, and sometimes like if the framing, we try to create a conception of the world as if it was like a big stage, because they are people who they have to perform constantly. They're public people, and therefore they're constant performers. So for us to imagine the world as a constant stage where these two actors would perform was something very appealing and quite playful, actually. So that was a big part of the fun of it for us.
And you're saying about, capturing kind of bodies in motion. How much, were you focusing on the choreography, I guess, whether that's the dance or whether it's the intimate moments? How did you kind of plan a lot of that? We're using intimacy coordinators, which I know is like kind of a hot topic in the industry at the moment. So how did you approach all that?
Yeah, first of all, Marcio and I, we have a background as actors. This is something that is very... it is a big part of our history. Marcio still acts. I'm already retired, but this is something that for us it was always something very important. We always love to work with this idea of eroticism and sex and desire on screen. So we create a very long process with our actors. We have like a very honest and very horizontal process, and create like exercises for everybody to feel comfortable. And in the end, it's everything. We really address the scenes as like a dancing scene. Because it is, we have a choreography, we prepare our bodies to do it, and then we execute that. And then we create an atmosphere that everything will become like very safe. And also, in the end, the actors always said that like, okay, this was way easier than I thought it would be. By far, it's not the most difficult scenes of the process. And I think that's something that we are always very into, explore more and more.
And can you say a bit about how the music kind of adds to the atmosphere and the tension? And, there's a score, but also tracks that you've brought in, like Devendra Banhart, for example. So how did you kind of curate the music, I guess, to add to this feeling of tension we have throughout the film?
Yeah, this is something that's very important to us, the soundtrack in general, but music really guides our process. So when we have the first image of the film, we already create like a set list, playlist, and we start to add some music. So we, before sitting and writing, like for a couple of hours, we listen some music together. And this is something very important for the process. We go to the same atmosphere, I would say. And many times, like these songs, they end up in the film. They really took us from our ordinary lives and they put us in that atmosphere, something that is very important to us. And with our previous films, you used to have more diegetic music. So usually like the characters playing, it was more grounded films than this one. And when we realized, okay, we want to make a erotic thriller, a new noir somehow, we have to have like the very strong and interesting original soundtrack that can play with that. We invited like Thiago Petit. He's an incredible artist from Brazil, and we had a very beautiful collaboration, and we couldn't be happier with the result because we are very proud of it. We are very passionate how it came out in the end, and I think it really creates and adds a lot to the atmosphere of the film. So.
And I guess because of the way, you are sort of swept along with on the kind of the level of it being this thriller, on its entertainment value. But of course, you can really sort of analyze, a critique here of how these men are forced to conform to a certain kind of performance, whether you want to be a successful actor, whether you want to be a politician. And, in this day and age, you would think that we were moving towards a position of people being able to be more open and more free with their identity. But it can also feel like actually we're kind of moving backwards in lots of ways. And this sort of, I guess that's where their desire to be free is really bubbling up. But what kind of did you want to say in that respect, about our current society?
Yeah, I think you went in the right direction in the sense like this was something that we really wanted to talk about, how we have to change who we are and what we want, and to try to fit the concept of success and of achievement in general in a capitalistic society, in the current society. So this is something that for us was something very interesting to address, and the characters, they have to deal with that. And I love that they have different professions. This is something also adds that you would see that in different fields of work. It was also interesting, as I mentioned before, like our previous films were more grounded, and then we thought, okay, we are always our films, they reflect some issues that we see like in our society, but we really wanted to address this in a more fun way this time. So I think like playing with the genre really helped us. We are like experience the film with these moments of a little bit of comedy and more tension and very pop moments as well. But we have this discourse, that this speech behind it.
And I guess you're also kind of exploring that relationship between risk and desire. And the way, that heightens, their feeling and what they want to do. So was that something also interesting you wanted to bring into the film?
Yeah, I think this is something then that for us was very, when we thought about the concept, then we knew for sure we needed to make like an erotic thriller or a noir, because it's like the mix of these concepts, desire and danger, because and it's something very exciting to see on the screen, I would say. You see these characters that are putting themselves in risk, and it's something very beautiful, because desire is a very important word in our process, and in the characters it's present in many like levels of their lives. They have desire also like in this professional, successful way towards life. So I think also, and of course they have also the desire to each other and to other people. So I think this clash is something that for us was very beautiful. So the characters are always in constant movement in the sense also, because they are guided and really by this idea of desire. Yeah.
And both actors are absolutely phenomenal. Did you have a most challenging moment?
I think it's always interesting, like scenes where they have to perform characters within the film, either like when Raphael is like on politics or like meeting people like on a professional environment, or when Matthias is playing characters on stage, so going on and off. So for an actor to be playing a character that plays a character, I think that's a challenge, So this going on and off character within the character was something that was very captivating to work with them, and I think they did an amazing job, and we're super happy with the result.
It was very challenging. It was also very beautiful, but it was very challenging, the shootings in the middle of the park, because we had this in our minds, and we always discuss a lot, like everything in the end of the process. But with this project, we knew that like films become the process, and the process becomes the film. They become the film. So this is something was so crazy to think. Okay, these characters are putting themselves at risk. They're going like outside, having sex in public spaces, and we are shooting a film outside in a public space. It's like, so it was, we were like, this is so crazy. I remember like the feeling, we were like looking at each other like, what are you doing? Like with that, I don't know, like 70 people around us, like with a lot of lightning in the middle of the park, and like back in Brazil. So it was a crazy moment to think like, what can cinema make us like put ourselves also at risk in a sense. But it was something very beautiful. Then you could see like how many people are involved and engaged to create this atmosphere, this universe, and this character. So.
And what has it meant to you to have the film here at the Berlinale? It does feel like the perfect kind of festival to premiere for your film like this. It's one that's always championing diverse voices, often taboo busting kind of films. It's really on the cutting edge. So what does it mean to you to have the film here?
For us, it's amazing. 10 years ago, we premiered our first feature film here at the Berlinale Seashore at the Forum section. And then in 2018, we premiered our second feature, Hard Paint, in the Panorama section. It won 2 awards, the Teddy Award for Best Queer Film and the Sakai Award. So to be back for the third time with our third feature, again in the Panorama, it's amazing. It's a programming that we super admire. We're big fan of the work that they do, and to be selected to be part of it this year for us is it's super amazing. We couldn't ask for a better premiere.
And there's something that I really admire, we really admire about Berlinale in general. It's a very political festival. But the concept of how political a film can be, it's like connected to the idea of how these political points can shape the artistic decisions as well. It's not just thematic or topic, like how the film formally is also challenging and like bringing different perspectives. So we are very happy to be part of it one more time. And I think, yeah, it fits perfectly for the film because this mix of industry and audience, it's crazy. It's so beautiful. You can see like the energy on the room. So this is something that we couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
And I believe you're also coming to London, right? To the
Yeah,
BFI
yeah,
Flair.
exactly.
I know we can't compete with Berlin. London's a cool place too. Is that pretty exciting to you to be part of that lineup?
Yeah, we are so happy of going to the BFI Flair. The film was invited to be the closing film of the festival, so we are very excited about it. And Hard Paint was also there a few years ago, and I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to go there and present the film.
To be Filipe's first time in London, so...
Yeah, it was my first time in London, so yeah.
And how do you see the landscape right now for queer cinema? I mean, I guess it can sometimes feel like one step forward, two steps back. I mean, the environment we're in at the moment, even in the UK, I always felt like we were a very sort of a progressive, tolerant society, but it feels like, this kind of lean towards the right wing, is kind of infiltrating a lot of things, and it can feel like it's actually more repressive now than it has been in, recent years. Is that something that you feel maybe one thing in society and another thing in the cinema world?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, this question, because cinema, it's a younger media, younger art than the others. And then you can see, of course, like there's a beautiful history of queer cinema, and it was always challenging in this sense. But at the same time, like we are achieving a very beautiful group of filmmakers, very diverse, and this is something that I don't believe we're gonna like lose. Of course, sometimes it's more challenging to some groups and some kind of people to create and to build like a film, and also to build a film with the minimal production that you should have to do it. But also, to be honest, also this gives more energy for us to do it, like more we are eager to make a film. This film was made during Bolsonaro era back in Brazil, so that like this for us it was something important. Like I remember Hard Paint was made during the coup that happened there. We needed to address this rage, this anger that we had, and I think this is something that we can always think about. And also then once we have this community, this group of artists that they can help each other understand and see how diverse and different the concept of queer cinema can be. I think that's something very beautiful. And this is something that I don't think anyone will give up.
And finally, very quickly, we got the fourth feature in mind. Going to be back here in a couple of years, so...
Yeah, no, we are working in different projects right now, and we already started to fund like the next one. So I don't know, like maybe in a couple of years we'll be shooting the next one. We're very excited. We are workaholics. We love to be on the set. I know that there are some directors that don't love the shooting, the pre-production. We love that, and this is like the most beautiful moment to us.
Yeah, we're right in this moment where we're discussing a lot what the next project will be. So we have like a couple possibilities, couple of paths to follow. So we hope like in 1 month time we will know.
Yeah,
like,
you've got to thrash it out a bit more.
Exactly. So it's been quite intense for us this moment regarding that. So we'll know it soon.
All right, amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Huge congratulations on the film. Really enjoyed presenting it here, and also see you in London.
Yes, definitely.